Guys, thanks for coming. And thank you for that fantastic introduction. Okay, now before we get started talking about high converting landing pages, I need to do something that I always do when I present for the first time at a show. In conversion sciences, we wear the lab coat. And when we put on the lab coat, it tells us that we've left the world of marketing myth and sales superstition, of gut instinct, what I like, and we've entered the world of data decision marketing, data-driven decision making. So when I put this on, I'm in a different frame of mind. Plus, according to studies, not only do I think I'm smarter than I am, but you think I'm smarter than I am when I put this on. So I should give a better presentation. And I wanted to recognize Sean for putting this together, having conversion sciences present because he's doing his part to make the world a better place, to make all of our websites and landing pages better so that not only are we making more money, but our visitors are having a much better experience as well. So if anybody has a camera, I would love to get a shot on social media of us in our lab coats. Thank you. That's not a bad look at all.
Got a nice photographer coming up there. Not exactly Steve, but I'm supposed to button it up.
You know, however you like to wear it. I'm kind of free and open.
I really want a girl with a short skirt and a long jacket.
Yeah, I would love to look for that on Twitter or something. So, landing pages. There's a lot of stuff going on out here talking about building traffic, bringing new people, having affiliates, deliver us the traffic that we want. Where are we delivering that traffic? Is it being converted at the rates that we want it to? And is it being converted at the rates that we want our affiliates to convert it to so they feel more comfortable sending us more traffic because we have awesome conversion rates to go with our amazing offers? What I'm going to do today is go over that. We're doing live critiques. I have several, but if you would like me to critique your landing page, please write it on the back of a business card. And where's the, is there a presentation remote? So we are doing live critiques. I apologize for the momentary technological snafu. We're going to talk about why landing pages are so powerful. I suspect most of you guys get that. How to build a landing page backwards. This, I think, is a key strategy in building landing pages. Because, you know, when we think about all the things we could put on a landing page, all the things we could say, all the things that can make a difference to the people that are coming, we tend to get wrapped around the axle. It can be pretty intimidating. I'm going to show you a very simple strategy for building the page backwards and how to identify the primary things you need to have on the page in order to get a good high converting landing page up that you can start testing on and iterating on to really find out those things that your audience, that your visitors want in order to feel comfortable and confident converting. Then we're going to do live critiques, and I will be fair. Everyone is doing their best, so I'm not looking to tear anybody up or anything like that. So please, if you would like me to review one of your landing pages, write it on the back of your card, put it in the little Paris cup here, and we will take a look at it, see how you rate on these. My name is Brian Massey. I'm with Conversion Sciences. We are a conversion optimization company. We primarily spend our time doing A/B split testing. We consider ourselves experts at that. Getting people to buy, getting people to turn into leads. We are also exceptionally good at getting the phone to ring. So I'm the author of the book, Your Customer Creation Equation. Anybody the first 4 people who submit their landing page will get a copy of my book absolutely free. This material is in there as well as a number of other things about landing pages and things like that. So I hope that you guys will submit your landing pages. So let's define what a landing page is. Technically, a landing page is where people are entering your site. But we have a different purpose. We want to create a page that has 2 jobs only. Number 1, keep the promise of the ad, the link, the social post, whatever brought that person here, we want to keep the promise. If they were looking for percentage discounts, that's what we want to talk about. If they were looking for a piece of content, that's what we want to talk about. The second thing is to single-mindedly get them to take action, because that's what moves our businesses forward. Keep the promise we made, get them to take action. This is what a landing page is designed to do. The other pages on your site are designed to do other things. The home page is designed to get people off the home page and on the way to, hopefully, one of these nice landing pages. The reason that landing pages are so successful is because we know something about them. We know the promise that we made. We know where they were when they came to us. Were they on a search engine? Were they on one of our affiliate sites? Are they coming from an email? We know something about their context, so we can write a page very specifically targeted at where they are. And this causes our pages, this allows us to convert higher and higher and higher. This magical piece of information, because we don't have to design a page for everyone, just for the people in the context coming from that particular ad, that particular offer. A landing page is really made up of 2 things. You have an offer and you have a form. We mix that into a clean, clear solution of web page, not the corporate template, a pure, distilled web page. Offer and form, that gives us a landing page. That's all we need. So the simplest landing page looks something like this. We have a call to action, an offer, which is to submit. We have a very simple form, a button. What could be easier? So that's pretty much it. This is what I recommend you all do. Any questions? We do not want to start with this. We do not want to start introducing distractions at the get-go. Start with a blank page. We need a better offer than submit, as you might guess. Submit does work, but only in certain circumstances. Dominatrixes, since that's what the offer is, submit is a good call to action on the button. Otherwise, don't submit. Don't ask for them to submit, okay? When we're deciding on the offer, the most important thing is that the landing page keep its promise. So if you're having trouble coming up with a headline or having trouble defining what the exact offer on this page is, you need to do nothing more than go and look at the offer that's going to be bringing your traffic. That's what the landing page is about. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, do we talk about our products? We talk about our business? Only if it serves a specific purpose in the landing page. The page has to be all about the offer. If it's about a piece of content that's relevant to your product, you talk about the content. You don't talk about the product unless it moves the visitor closer to getting the content. So here's a real simple example. Here's 2 ads. These are search ads. Discounted dollar bills from the leader in dollar resales, www.mint.gov. Coming to a landing page where the call to action is discounted dollar bills, click here. That's the offer. This one will work. Now, if we had another ad that said discounted dollar bills, 50% off new US dollars from the leading reseller, and it came to this page, we have a disconnect. We have a broken promise. Because we said 50%, and we came to a page that doesn't say 50%. We've instantly created mistrust. We've instantly created abandonment. I was looking for the 50% deal. Am I being baited and switched here? I hope not. So a better landing page for ad B is going to be this: get US dollars 50% off. So now we've got a landing page that they could take action on with a nice offer. It even has a call to action. Click here now. This is a pretty damn good landing page, right? Here's an example that I saw with Zumba Fitness. I saw this ad. I thought I would look pretty damn good in that outfit. Little spider web thing going on there. Zumba Fitness stuff. Clicked on it and I came to this page. So not only do I not see the product, but it's a different girl. And when I did a search for Wonderland collection, it came up with 0 results. So they brought me to, this wasn't even a home page. Maybe this is some sort of weird category page. They're spending all this money on the display network. I hope that all they really wanted here was a little branding attention, because this is not going to convert. This is not going to satisfy anybody who clicks on the site. There's no mention of Wonderland. The colors do match. So if you're doing ad network, part of keeping the promise or part of keeping the visitor on the scent is also using the same visual cues. So consider using the same colors and visual cues on the pages that you use in your ads. So we've got our page. We might want to ask our designer if we could make this a little bit easier to parse. There's a visual hierarchy that we want to establish with our pages where we say, this is the most important thing. Right now, that button is the most important thing, but it's got a couple of things on it. So a designer might come in and ingeniously say, why don't we have a headline? We'll pull that offer off the button, put a headline out there. Now we can very see what the page is about, and we can very clearly see what we're being asked to do. Click here. Pretty good landing page, don't you think? Of course, clicking on a button doesn't really help our business. It doesn't actually move any dollars. So we could ask to collect an email address and then begin marketing to them, letting them know about the 50% off deal through email. We could ask them for permission. This will reduce our conversion rates, but increase the quality of the people we're sending to. So very well might increase our sales, even though it will decrease our conversion rate on this page. Ask them to enter a credit card number. It's the web. Let's go ahead and process a purchase. Or even better yet, have them enter a friend's credit card. That would probably work. The truth is that if we're asking for a credit card number, we need a lot of other stuff. And for those of you that are doing deals where you need qualifying information or you're going through the process of an application, maybe it's for a loan, maybe it's an application for debt relief, any of these things, you're going to find yourself having to add a number of fields to the page for the form to work in your business. And what happens when we do this is we create a terrible contaminant in the chemical reaction called abandon. And we give it the periodic table designation for argon, because when they abandon, they are gone. They will not come back. We will have lost them. The money spent is gone. The opportunity lost. So we want to make sure that we are reducing this contaminant in our chemical reaction on the page. Usually we'll turn to a copywriter and say, okay, what can you do to handle some of the objections that are around this? Let's build the offer up. Let's demonstrate some value since we're asking them to do a lot more work on the page. So let's say that we went out to our copywriter and they said, I think we can do this with, a little reassurance, 3 important bullets about these particular dollar bills, and they come out with a design like this, a few bullet points and a subhead. The copywriter thinks that that's going to do it. You may need to write and write and write. You may need long form. You may be able to get away with just a little bit. Whatever you feel you need to do to handle the objections, to make the visitor feel comfortable and confident, do that much copy and no more. So there are a couple of catalysts we can mix in here. We've got a pretty good starting point for our landing page. We've got a call to action, something that helps the business. Got a good offer that matches our ad. We've got some copy that's going to help reduce our abandonment rate. But there's some more we can start adding in here. Catalysts don't actually react. They help reactions go faster. They help reactions go hotter. And in our case, they help more people convert. Trust is one of those. The most obvious trust builder that you can put on a landing page is your company logo. US Mint, it's a known entity, so the logo conveys some trust, makes me feel more comfortable on the page. This is why we don't start with the corporate site. You don't add your logo unless you're adding it for a purpose. Most of you will add your logo. You don't have to be a known brand for your logo to convey credibility. Those of you that are asking for credit card information, you can use the Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover badges. They're informational. They tell you what credit cards you offer, but you're also borrowing trust from these well-known brands. You want to borrow as much trust as you legitimately can. So when you add these, we typically see an increase in conversion rate because we believe it builds trust. And your customers, who else has bought your product? Who else has bought your product? This tells me that I'm not alone on this page. I'm not the only one that's seen the ad. It makes me feel more comfortable that you're a credible business that I can work with. Are you a member of any associations? Is your website secure? These are all things that make me feel comfortable, confident. These are trust builders. And a lot of them are symbolic like this, but you can also work these things into your copy. The other catalyst we want to work in here is proof. Proof. Proof needs to be specific and supportable. In this case, we said, I went back to the copywriter and said, what could we do for proof? Well, we already sold 13 trillion of these things. That's got to be worth something, right? But the more specific you can be, the better. So we find that specific calls to action, or specific proof points like this, tend to convert more. Over 10,000 customers, if you say 11,342 customers to date, that just feels more legit, right? So be as specific as you can. And when you have proof, when you have studies, when you have statistics on your business, like we say 97% of our clients last year continued with us after our 6-month initial Catalyst program. Awesome. Last year, we delivered 23% increase in conversion rates for our clients, across all of our clients. That makes people feel more comfortable buying from us. So we've got the proof, we've got the trust, these catalyze the reaction, these are making them go faster. There's another element we can add in here. They will support our offer, and its image. It's marketing 101, show the product, right? However, too often, what we do is not show the product. This was pretty easy for me. I went out on the web and found some dollar bills. I mean, we know pretty much what they look like, so it wasn't that hard. Too often, though, it's not that easy for our business. So we resort to this sort of thing, stock photos, headset hotties, and graphs of things that just don't have any meaning whatsoever other than they're up and to the right, and they're going from red to green. What are we trying to do here? Manipulate people, right? We call this business porn. And if you're not using images to further your value proposition of your landing page, you're wasting the space. You're wasting the space. How do you know if you've got business porn on your landing page? If you can't write a caption that isn't just ridiculous for that picture, it's probably business porn. The caption for this one would probably be, we want to shake your hand so that we can start cashing your checks. And I don't know what this graph is. If you can't write a meaningful caption, it's probably business porn. People know the difference between stock photography and real people. We can tell the difference. We can tell when we're being pandered to. So we got a lot of stuff on this page already. Look at this. We got pictures and logos and customers and text and all these fields and everything. Back to the visual hierarchy. When I come to the page, I need to be very clear of two things. Number one, that you're keeping the promise. And number two, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So we always want to make sure that that call to action, which typically appears on our buttons, is not being competed with. So we can make it bigger, bolder, make sure that the promise is on the button. If you have any questions about what text to put on your buttons, make it match or follow from the headline. If that button follows directly from the headline or matches what's on the headline, you're liable to have a higher conversion rate. And this should satisfy the color question. What color should the button be? Any color that makes it stand out on the page. Any color that's not already on the page. There's some other things we can do here. We can screen back some of the other visual elements. I'm sure you see on landing pages people doing this with their logos. Arrows. Put a big old arrow pointing either to the form or to the call to action button. It's amazing how a little arrow, I see people construct arrows out of text by making it centered and slowly getting shorter, and they get more conversions because they get more people scrolling down. Our brains get direction for some strange reason. So now you can see the visual hierarchy is pretty clear. We've got a button. This is telling me what I need to do. So we've got all the elements that we're really looking for. This is when the designer gets involved. And you don't let them come in and say, oh, we need a rotating banner, a header. We're going to take all these logos and put them on a flash thing that shifts through. Don't put any motion on your page. Motion, we just have to look at motion. The only place motion would make sense would be on a button, but it's usually a little hard to justify why buttons have to move. And if they're jumping around, they're hard to click on. So just let them be the draftsman. Get people's eyes to the promise kept, through the copy. Make sure that they can see what the call to action is, what we want them to do, and do that in a nice way. So I went up to Unbounce and just grabbed one of their templates here because I'm not a designer. But this was a very simple template. You can see that the entire form stands out because of the blue banner. There is an arrow element there at the top. Again, you'll be surprised at how simple the arrows can be to make things work. Had the option to really make these bullets stand out and make them more scannable by putting these 1, 2, 3 icons next to them. May or may not be work, but I feel like this does a good job of saying, here's my promise, here's the trust symbols, here's the proof, here's what I want you to do, and making people do it. Does that make sense? Any questions up to this point? So hopefully I've taken something pretty complex and boiled it down to a few simple things. This is the reaction altogether. Offer, form, a couple of catalysts to make things happen better, to increase our conversion rates, proof and trust, making sure that the image is there and that it's not a lost opportunity. By the way, on images, captions are a great place to repeat your offer. Captions get read. So not only should you write a caption that doesn't embarrass you, make it worthwhile because captions get read on the page. I have a landing page checklist. This actually takes you through all of these things and lets you write out what you're going to do for each of these steps. And it even has some promise forms that the designers and the web developer can sign, stating that they will not add anything else to the page other than what's in this document. And they have to sign that, and that ensures that we don't have anything introduced to the page that's going to be a distraction. How many of you have social media icons on your landing pages? Why would you send your store-bought traffic to Mark Zuckerberg? I'm glad to know. You raised your hand. Thank you very much. I know more of you do. In fact, I bet most of you do. We wouldn't want to send our store-bought traffic off to Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, unless you're exceptionally, exceptionally good at getting social media back to the site to buy. What's that? Save it for the thank you page. On the thank you page, after they've taken action, number one, it's a great place to sell them, a great time to sell them something because there's a psychological effect that happens called liking. And the very fact that I chose something makes it better. And that alone, we put a lot of faith in our own choice. On the thank you page is a great place to put social like, social share, tell your friends that you just did this thing, all of that stuff. You're more likely to actually get people to do it, and you won't have lost the person because they see the Facebook. And when I'm about to take action, all I'm looking for is a way to delay that, especially if it's a high value, if I have to spend some money. I'm just looking for a way to delay my decision, just in case. Don't give them a reason. Oh, Facebook, I should go see if Aunt Minnie got married again or something like that. So now we're going to do some examples. I have 3 examples. Is there anyone who would like to see how their site does? I think we have at least room for 2 more. And as I said, I've got another book to give away if you'd like a book in exchange. If you have a business card, write the landing page on the back, and I'll be happy to do a critique of that. Okay? And we've got this lovely thing here for you to put it in. Is there anybody else who has a landing page for me? 1 or 2 more? You got one? Awesome. That'll be the second Portuguese one we have. We'll trust a little Google Translate. But other than that, we can do it just fine. I think we'll do it just fine if you'll translate for us.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
I use some lead pages templates.
Yeah.
It actually outnumbers everything I can imagine up on my own. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but so I have a landing page on one of those templates that works really, really well. So would that be something you want to look at?
That would be fine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lead pages, if you're using Unbounce, so we use lead pages and Unbounce too for some of our things. We have a little trouble instrumenting lead pages all the way through in certain situations, but they perform very well for us. I think we're doing a little bit better with Unbounce, but it's quality of the traffic is different in the 2 realms, so you just never know. You have something?
Yeah. It's 1 click away from the home page.
Okay. All right, good. Are there any questions about what I've covered so far? Thank you. Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, size, so I noticed there you had the character at the bottom.
Yeah. If you need the space to build the value proposition, take as much as you want. So make it as long as you want. You know, you don't want to make it wider than the screen, obviously, but take as much space as you want. Long, in certain situations, long copy landing pages will outperform short copy and vice versa, and it really just depends on your offer, what it takes to build, to add that proof and trust, and the audience that you're bringing and what their preferences are. Well, so we want them as soon as possible to know that we're asking them to take action. Placing the call to action below the fold does not necessarily mean that you will not have a high conversion rate. It does mean that you will need to make sure you don't make your page look like it has a premature end. So people do things to get people to scroll, downward arrows, making sure there's no flat line that looks like a footer on the page. Just some cues to help them get down and see that. There is an audience, a segment of your audience will be what we call spontaneous visitors. They might be coming back just to buy again. They already know you, they already know your product, they're just looking to buy. You want to make sure that you have offers, the information at the top that they need, and it's typically price, basic specification, and a call to action if you've got those people coming to a landing page. But other than that, every audience will be a little bit different in terms of whether they're going to scroll or not and where you need your call to action. Does that make sense? When in doubt, put it above the fold so that those people who are just hair trigger ready to take action can do it. Good? So if I have done this correctly, I should be able just to move along. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a simple game of what's missing. We're going to leave our critiques almost exclusively to which of these elements is or is not on the page and grade you according to that. So this is vpnmentor.com. Can you guys see that all right? Or is that just too small? A little bit too small. So where's my VPN mentor? Here you are. So tell us a little bit about where the traffic is coming from and what you want them to do. Go to each of the vendors and sign up. One would be enough. So this actually has a little bit more of a homepage style challenge, which is help me choose. Help me find something on this page that's something I would find desirable that I would click on. And so you've done what we typically do on what we call a pricing page for online services where you have multiple levels, freemium, pro, extra pro, and enterprise, that sort of thing, gold, silver, gold, bronze, silver, gold, that sort of thing. And the job is to help them choose. So you've got it's a good question. So let's just go through what is the offer. The offer VPN service, and it can be any of these providers.
They have a few options that they can provide, like money back guarantee, which is important to many of the people, or a number of devices they can use. Many people want it on the home, on the Android TV, on their mobile, etc.
Okay. I don't know if you ladies wanted to have the microphones for the video. If y'all wanted to run around with the mic, ladies in the back. Room monitors. Did you want to run around with the microphone for the video? Because we're going to be doing quite a bit of interacting. What's the promise on, how are you bringing people? What promise are you making? Is it VPN reviews? Is it VPN comparison?
VPN review,
Okay, so the first thing that I'm seeing is choose one of these, and if I click on this green button, am I going to be taken to a review, or am I being taken to their landing page? So to an extent, this page is already violating, it's already breaking the promise that I'm going to get reviews, that I'm going to be able to compare. Now this table does allow me to do some comparison. You've got them rated here. You've got them rated here, right? And I'm actually having trouble reading this headline. What does that say? Money back guarantee. Do they? What does this number? What does this number mean? Number of days. Okay. Okay. You're giving them the proof that they are the trust symbols that would make me potentially feel more comfortable. Down at the bottom, you have latest articles. Now, are these relevant to?
That specific event or those verticals. It depends on exactly for which ad you came.
Okay.
For Almaya, for example, the articles will be mostly about Almaya.
Okay. And here at the bottom, are these social media buttons?
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say. Depending on the ads that are bringing reviews, I think you do okay in matching the offer to the call to action. The form is very simple. It's a button the button text says visit site. That tells me pretty clearly what's going on. So the form is fairly simple. Okay. Well, all there to help us choose. Kind of by definition, I want to stay on this page. But clicks is what we're looking for. Proof. So why are you qualified to rate and review VPNs? Do you have anything in the copy that talks about that? Not sure. We have trust builders. So you have a logo. Here's some more social media. Now, in certain situations, social media icons can be trust builders, but it's like fill out this form with Facebook or fill out this form with LinkedIn. So a large percentage of the traffic you get to your homepage comes from social media? I think good and hard about it, because it is abandonment. And I think that there's a couple of opportunities to abandon here. Top navigation, is this your corporate navigation at the top there?
No, it's special navigation.
Special.
Especially if you create a form page, and though this version does take you out of the landing page, on the new version, just opening a pop-up with the content.
Okay. Okay, good.
The navigation on the top is only for this landing page.
Okay. I think some more proof would be helpful for you. Why are you an authority on this? You may already be highlighting from the fact that you use the crowd to do the rating. That's proof and a little bit of trust. Ratings and reviews on e-commerce sites, testimonials, all of these things can be used to build trust and to provide proof. They're kind of magical and they do a little bit of each. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for them to exit the page and go off and read reviews. If this is like a microsite and there's keeping offers in front of them to go and visit these businesses, then I think that this.
Actually, the website itself is quite big for many members, because are only the selection of them. In the middle column, the one which you have rating, there is a button that takes in there to go read the full review for this vendor.
Right.
So they can continue to read the full review, the full data, they will see there what screenshots.
So this is more like a category page in an e-commerce site. We'd probably use some of the same cues there. Okay, well, so the other thing that's missing from here is image. And you think, how could we use image to move things forward? What could we offer? And you could use almost anything from a rendering of the review. So I know I'm going to go and read a review, but a rendering of the review, the kind of reviews that I might see. If there are graphs or if it's a magic quadrant like a Forrester does, those sorts of cues on the page might help people feel more comfortable going on and reading the reviews. That's an important part of the effort. I'm sorry? Yeah, logos of the vendors, I mean, that communicates as clearly what you're doing. On this page, there may not be an additional images may not be necessary, but if you wanted to do something visual that would add proof or trust into the mix, you could show pictures of the reviewers, like little headshots of the reviewers or something like that. I don't know. That would be something that I would have to try a couple different things on. So we don't want to arbitrarily put image in, but it's such a powerful value proposition builder. We've always got to stop and think, is there some way we could use it to help build that value proposition? It's a very visual page with a lot of choices. It's a tough page to parse. So whatever this says here, if there was a way to turn that into an image, that might be a good use of a graphic of some sort. I just can't read it. SEO copy, right? Yeah. Okay. Any questions about this page? It's a little bit of different, but we're all going to be a little bit different to some extent. But you can see how we can go through the checklist and think about each of these things and decide whether or not we need to add them into the page. Any questions? Okay. This is another one that was given to us. By the way, don't forget to pick up a book. Thank you very much. So tell me what the source of the traffic is here. Okay. And the geo-targeted? Okay. Did you want to use the microphone with him so that the folks on the video get the... So let's go through. What do we want them to do? We want them to vote and see the results.
That's one of the responsive shrunk versions. So there are pictures of the candidates on the larger version of that page.
Oh, did I pull the wrong page?
No, it's just that your screen size brought it with the media queries. It took it down, so there's no face. The desktop will get everybody's face shot.
Let's take a quick look because images are important. What sort of calls to action are you using to bring people?
In terms of the banner ads, or
yeah,
we tested cast ballot now. Cast vote now, vote now on the banners. We have not tested on the button. Well, I've tested see results in a different context, and that gave us a boost by letting people know they'll see the benefit of what other people have voted.
They will see the results, right?
Yeah, and the results are actually specific by state.
Enter your email and zip code, cast your vote, and see the results. So you kind of buried the lead there. Do people generally need to be told what to do on a form? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. One thing to consider there, though, in terms of really filling out your value proposition is one, it says, see how friends in your state are voting since you're geo-targeting. And if you feel like you need to give them instructions, In smaller text, you would say, enter your email and zip code.
You think above the form there, it's redundant or excessive? Is that what you're saying, possibly?
No, in general, we find if you put copy above the form that summarizes the value proposition or completes the value or the value proposition of the offer, you will get more people to the form. So I would leave. I don't think it's redundant. I just think you put the most important thing, the most interesting thing at the end, so it doesn't get read. They don't. Oh,
being the see results aspect.
Results, right.
Okay.
That's your ultimate. That's the ultimate value proposition. That's a little bit targeted, but as you start to think about what your promise is and making sure that you're keeping the promise. So in the ad, if you're keeping the promise of vote and see results, you need to make sure that that is showing up, if not in the headline, then certainly near the call to action. North Carolina is an important early state in the presidential primaries, and we need to know who you support for president. Please select below and submit the, if that's what you're promising in the ads, it's a match. So it's good that you mentioned the state, since you're geo-targeting, obviously. That ties your landing page. And this is a great example of, we know something about the visitor. Let's use that to make them feel more comfortable on our page. Putting their geo-targeted location in, especially in the headline, is a great example of doing that. Just as an aside from a copy standpoint, why is missing from here? Why would I do this? Now this page is already converting at 50%.
Yeah, I just double checked. It's at 40%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's already converting at 40%, which by most standards is just fine. So you're going to be looking for things like that to start to move that conversion rate higher as you add things to the page. You've got the pictures. So this is a great use of image, very relevant, exactly what we're talking about. And the picture even drawing me to select the candidate. For the smaller screens, which is also very important and something that becoming so important that we really need to expand this presentation to talk about, but then small screens, how do you change your content so that it still conveys the information but gives a different experience, a mobile experience. So here we lose the images. It would be very interesting to see on the smaller screens, on the tablet traffic, how much lower your conversion rates are. But this is why our tablets tend to have lower conversion rates, and I think this might be an overreaction. There's no reason that those images couldn't be here, either stacked or what have you, because I think that is a really important piece of it. Obviously, it's one of the components. So we've got the form is very simple. We select a candidate, we enter our email and our zip code. Another trust builder is risk reversal. So if you were to say who's going to get, if you were to say we won't share, if you are sharing, you wouldn't say that. But sometimes actually being explicit about what's going to happen with the email can help. In your case, you're not really looking for quality, I assume. You're really looking for people to finish the results.
Yeah.
What are you doing with
There's a note at the bottom. It's kind of small there, if you can read that. But basically, it says the Sound Money Defense League and Liberty Headlines are conducting this urgent voter poll of North Carolina voters. It mentions that by participating, you are entitled to receive news updates about relevant news. And then they get into a flow of autoresponders and news headline type emails.
Okay. So it could
but
be
it's
positioned
very,
as part
it's kind
of
of
the value
buried there.
proposition, like you're going to get some great information, that conservative readers, conservative voters want. You kind of buried it, but for those of you that are asking for this information, you often will, not always, but you often can see an increase in conversion rate if you, near the call to action, you are explicit about how the information will be used or won't be used. Make sense? So think about risk reversal when we're talking about trust builders. That was all I was trying to do, is create a little arrow there. So what else have we got? Proof points, North Carolina voter poll, anything about why you guys should be trusted?
Yeah.
Are you doing something in the state?
Well, these are state-focused polls, and that's not the organization. That's more of just trying to tie in the state. So, I mean, one thing we could test is our logo in that top area. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, in a way, the North Carolina voter poll looks like branding and trust in a way. I mean, it's not the organization. So, I mean, that's one thing I noticed. We haven't really aggressively used our branding on this page like you suggest.
Yeah, it might work for you. You are branded. This looks like a candidate's site. I mean, they're all going to be blue, red, white, and blue. Some treatment of the American flag on there. So from a design standpoint, I think your designer's doing a good job of hitting the cues, knowing something about the visitors, that they are conservative visitors, and to risk stereotyping, rah-rah, American, patriotic, American flag, red, white, and blue, that sort of thing. So avoid stereotypes if you can, but they do make for great hypotheses to start things off. So anything else, if there was a logo for the association or the state seal, things like that might bring some more trust onto the page if you're allowed to use them in that way. We talked about images. I thought we did a pretty good job. There is no top navigation. I'm not seeing any. Social icons. I'm not seeing any ways of leaving the page. So I think you get a check on the abandonment part of it. I like the straightforward form. We talked about how to do that sort of thing, and proof and trust. So 40%, the elements are here. There's not a lot of distractions, so it makes sense that you're converting as well as you are, especially if you're, since this page is designed for a very specific segment of traffic that you know something about. I'd tell you overall, nice job. And I think there's some opportunities to maybe even get it higher.
Thanks.
Any questions, anybody on?
So for trust, would you use a Better Business Bureau logo?
We've tested Better Business Bureau's logos. We've seen, in the most recent ones we've done, actually adding the little A+ and making it look like it's a clickable link that you can, like it's a real-time, almost like a secure site symbol, gave us a nice little bump. So you might try testing the Better Business Bureau with the A+, no complaints.
But you can use it as a icon, not a link, so that they can't get away?
Yeah, so there's a danger. If you put it on there and it is clickable, they could link away. We just found a higher conversion rate, so whatever abandonment it was introducing was less than the increase in conversion rate.
So it's the same for associations or things that your members do?
Yeah, in general, we don't make the icons clickable unless it's a official reporting, current status sort of thing. So Secure Safe or Shopper Safe, Trust Guard, McAfee Secure. People understand they can click on those and hopefully just in a pop-up get some information about the status of the security on that site. So good question.
BBB is trying to force you to make their logo a link under their terms of service.
Yeah, and if the terms of service says you can't use the logo without making it a link, I would test it because, as you said, it is introducing some abandonment. The most recent test we've done had a positive result. Other questions? Actually, real quick follow-up to that one.
Yeah, it's like, this please select.
Did you want to talk to the microphone?
Yeah. So wouldn't you want that bigger so you see, because people aren't really sure what you want them to do? Wouldn't you want to make that bolder and change the color? So
The text at the bottom?
No, right here where it says please select below, what you want them to do.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good point.
And change the color, change the font so people know what are you asking them to do?
This arrow might be better over here, some sort of arrow treatment that lets them know that the process starts here, especially on this compressed page, where my eye is not being drawn to the image. Faces are amazing. So nothing's going to be seen on this page until after these faces are scanned. The human brain loves faces. That's why your stock images are probably shooting you in the foot. It's some irrelevant smiling person. It's the first person they're going to see. They're liable to skip your headline with a promise. They may not even see that you're asking them to take action. This is one of the reasons that the business porn is so bad on landing pages.
One of the problems is, all emphasis can become no emphasis. So maybe, on this idea of emphasizing please select below, maybe I should shrink the text above it. Maybe that's not as important as the call to action.
No, I think that's fine. I think just make that bigger so you're separating it. It's all kind of mushed together.
Okay.
And maybe it's not important. So keeping the promise, saying it's an important early state in the presidential primaries. that may not be necessary, but if that's part of your value proposition, that might be de-emphasized. There's
Yeah.
how you present your value proposition is ultimately the thing that's gonna make or break the landing
I think there's a good test with increasing the size of Please Select Below and shrinking down to 2 lines to the North Carolina is an important early state. It's more of a feature than a...
But you can see how you want your landing page designed to drive people to the important parts of the page, and they know what you're asking them to do. And that's ultimately what we want to do with this. There's a few variations we could test and find out what works. There was another question here.
Just a really quick question. Is there a disconnect happening because they're opting in for a vote versus poll, and then they're suddenly on just like a general conservative newsletter that's going to try to sell them stuff? Or are you actually going and using the data for something?
Are you using the data, this data for something, or is this really just a lead generation?
It's lead generation.
Okay.
Is there a disconnect happening between the lead generation and then, between like I'm voting in a poll and then suddenly I'm being sold stuff / conservative newsletter?
Yeah. Well, they're coming from those sources in the first place. So
Yeah.
they already are political news junkies, and they receive political news by email, and it's mentioned that they will. But there's always going to be people. There are always people that say I didn't sign up for this.
Okay, I
And
got
so
it.
one of the metrics you would watch is the opt-out rates that you're having on your subscriber. If you do something that significantly increases the conversion rate here, but then you also have a much larger increase in your opt-out rate on the lists that you're sending to, that's a measure of quality. And whenever we're building these landing pages, we can do a lot to increase conversion rates, but to just get a whole bunch of crappy people on our list or a whole bunch of crappy people going to our store or going to our affiliates. So we want to have some measure of quality. And I think the point you're making is, we can make these promises. There is a little bait and switch going on here. Is it causing my opt-out rates? In other words, are people satisfied with the content they end up getting, or are they opting out? And that would be one of the primary quality measurements, obviously, and how much they buy is the other one. And to an extent, you want people to leave a list if they're not interested. You want to shape the list, but you want to make sure you're getting people who will buy on the list. Good questions. Other questions? All right. We are moving along rather slowly. This is mentor sound. So who gave me this one? Oh, okay. Tell me a little bit about who's coming. And I'm sorry, I've lost your URL. But so what's the ultimate name of the site?
It's a page that traffic comes from Facebook and it's like a freelander before they go to the advertiser. It's a consumer organization.
Okay.
And when you sign up, you get a video camera, real cheap. So the angle on Facebook is, how do I got this video camera so cheap?
And this was originally in Portuguese?
Yeah, Portuguese.
How to get a video camera? What is 60?
It's 60
stick
Brazilian
that in there?
dollars.
Oh, for $60.
Yeah, 60 Brazilian dollars. It's not much. I think it's $10. I don't know. Really.
So what this does say is how to get a video camera for 60 Brazilian dollars for real. Okay.
Yeah, the real is a Brazilian dollar.
What's what?
Real is the Brazilian dollar, so it's actually how to get a video camera for $60.
Okay, and they're coming from Facebook ads, Facebook posts that are
Ads.
promising them inexpensive
Newsfeed ads.
Hmm?
Newsfeed ads.
Newsfeed ads, and the promise is to get an inexpensive video camera.
Yeah, to get a cheap camera with good quality.
Okay, so there's a good match on the offer. How do I take action on this page? What do you want them to do?
The thing on the right is a little bit bugged, it seems, here. There should be another image of the camera and a form, a button to get to the advertiser's page, and it scrolls down with you, so you see the go to the advertiser button the whole time.
Okay. Let's see if I've got that one open still. Let's just do it this way. Okay, here we go.
But your screen is a little small. We only do desktop, and we never, we like checked what screen resolutions our traffic is, and we measured it so like almost everyone can see the button that's down there, but right now you don't see it.
So you're getting screen resolution or client window size, because they're different. So I'm full screen now, and I have a high resolution. I have a high resolution, like, well, 13 by 9, 1300 by 900. This is a real danger for you, I think, because it's one thing to have your offer below the fold. It's another thing to have your offer stuck below the fold so that you can never get it. Arguably, the stickies work especially on, we see a lot of success on small screens, phones with stickies, headers, sticky footers. I think this might be working against you. You might consider testing, just trusting them and letting them know they can scroll back up and see that offer.
Yeah, before we had just a couple of random buttons on the page, and then we tried the sticky, and that worked better, actually. So
this actually did increase your conversion rate?
Yeah, but now it's left, so I don't know.
We're kind of getting an idea. So technical errors is one of the first things that we always find when we start with a client. There's some things going on here that you want to understand, because there's some percentage of your audience that's getting these, and it's going to drive them away. So I'm assuming you want them all, right?
Yeah, but like before we had them all, and this converted better than when it was without that.
Okay, so it's converting better even with the technical errors.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, there might be a couple more points in here if you fix those errors. So the call, can you translate the call to action for us on the button?
I think it's I want my camcorder.
I want my camcorder? Get my camcorder?
Yeah, right now I think it also says, but.
So that is, that's relevant, certainly relevant to the headline on this. This does look like a blog page. The copy, I assume, is mostly talking about the camera. You've got pictures of the camera. You've got, you don't have captions, which is a missed opportunity here. Every one of these pictures should have one point that you want to make. Like, for instance, the second one there, if it just said 2.5-inch screen folds, that's all you need to say, but okay. You're reinforcing value, both visually and in words. Or you could repeat the offer. Your $60 video camera has a 2-inch fold-away screen. You see how you're reinforcing the call to action. Captions. Don't waste your captions. Any image should have a caption, even if it's just stating what's obvious in the picture. So this is really interesting, and I think a lesson to be learned here is there's a lot of us who have offers on blog content because it's how we build our search engine optimization. So I'm going to probably want to try a sticky as well, since you've got a test that indicates that it's outperforming. So we've got a relatively easy form here. It's just to click of the button, and the form on the following page.
Yeah, it's a 4-page sign-up thing on the advertiser side. It won't work, I think.
So it's going off to an affiliate. Okay.
And
proof and trust?
Yeah, we have like Facebook comments. We also tested YouTube videos with reviews. So like at the bottom of the page, there's a load of Facebook comments.
Okay. Yes, there's a lot of comments below here, I noticed. Opportunities to abandon. A lot of those there were some links away from those in the comments?
No, they go all to the advertiser.
They what?
All links go to the advertiser. They
all go to the advertiser?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Even if I think I'm looking at the profile of somebody who's commenting?
Yeah.
Okay. These in-copy links is another great way to integrate calls to action into your copy. And those are going off to the advertiser as well, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think that this does a great job with image. Bear with me. I would love to see myself, but right now I want to be able to do this. Is this a testimonial up here at the top?
It's just a picture with the name of the writer.
The name of the writer? So that qualifies as trust builders and even a little bit of proof. If this person looks or seems qualified and credible to be writing about this topic, great use, in that case, great use of a human face, because attached to the human face is the story of who wrote this. And does it have his title in there as well?
Excuse me?
Name and title, is that what's next to his face?
You have his name and then the number of views and the date the article was written.
Okay, so standard blog stuff. And the form takes them off to take action. There is this at the top. Just most
It goes
blogs
to the
have-
advertiser.
Huh?
It goes to the advertiser.
Those all go to the advertiser too?
Yeah.
So you get a check on abandon rate. It would be really interesting to do a study of people that click on those things if there's a lower conversion rate at the advertiser than the obvious things.
Yeah, I guess it will not convert very well, but there might be one conversion or so.
It's certainly better than sending them somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So how's this page doing?
Well, it's performed very, very well this summer. So we're quite happy with it.
Yeah, well, it seems to have the elements that it needs. It's kind of it's a little risk taking a blog page and making that a landing page, but here, it works. So I'm going to be less skeptical about my blog pages converting. Any questions on this? I think we're out of time. Thank you guys for submitting your other pages. So the first 4 you, the first 3 folks get a free book. And one of you jumped up and said, I would like a free book. He's on his computer right there. You're welcome to have one as well, since you were so excited about it. Guys, thanks very much. I appreciate your attention and your good questions. Yes? You can buy one. Just go to Amazon. Is that cool? You want to take one and read it on the airplane?
Well, the question is, what about when you're doing video?
What's that?
When you're doing video, like when you're doing video
Video's a
instead.
good question. So video is image at 30 frames a second. So it is a very deep, immersive way of putting image on the page. Having said that, it can be a real killer or a real boost to your landing page. It's so powerful and rich that I would almost always recommend testing video.
So you don't need to put all the other stuff on the page if you're incorporating the credibility, testimonials, and everything in the video, explaining the product, what the features and benefits are, and go right for the capture, lead capture.
Yes, so every audience is different, but some percentage of your audience is going to be scanning. They're looking for something faster. So we usually recommend and have best results when we put the copy below the video for those people that are scanning and want to get what the story is faster than watching your video.
You know what? We used to do it that way, and you're right. It always outperformed with the copy below.
Right, and it's also great for SEO.
Thank you.